It's kind of become an internet trend to hate over Colleen Hoover. For this video, I've decided to read some of her most popular books and decide if I am a hater too. Is that a weird thing to do? I am unhinged. Anyway, I'm gonna rate every book on a level of cringe or binge. Am I making sense? Hopefully. Let's get into the video. This is probably the most unhinged book I have ever read. It's a dark romance slash thriller. It has three major characters: Lowen, Jeremy Crawford, and Verity Crawford. Lowen is a struggling writer, and she's been hired by Jeremy Crawford, who's Verity Crawford's husband. Verity Crawford is a very popular author, but she's recently gotten into an accident and she cannot finish the rest of her novels. And of course, like any other publisher who wants to earn money, they want these books to be finished because they're super popular and Verity is super successful. So they want another writer to come on board and help her finish these books. And that's the reason why Jeremy hires Lowen. Now, when I say this book is unhinged, it starts with a road accident. Literally, the first page is about a road accident. Now, you might say starting a thriller with a road accident is not really unhinged, but let me tell you what are one of the first things that Lowen thinks or observes. Let me set the scene for you. Lowen is trying to cross the street, and this man just comes under a bus or a truck and his head explodes. Yeah, his head explodes and some of his blood is all over her shirt. So she's in total shock, and this nice, kind guy decides to help her out. So he takes her to a bathroom, helps her clean up, gives her his clean shirt, and instead of being in this state of shock, which she is, I'm not denying, she's already started romanticizing the guy. Let me read out what she thinks in the first chapter. I find myself drawn to his altruism, a rarity these days. But it's the flash of wedding ring on his left hand that propels me forward out of the bathroom and coffee shop. Woman, you just saw somebody's head explode. Is this the right time to be thinking of romance? Is this the right time to be romanticizing a person who helped you out? I won't go too much into the plot because honestly, you can read it at the back of the book. What I will say is that lots of twists in the book. I was absolutely hooked. I could not keep it down. I finished the book in 24 hours. I think Colleen Hoover has this talent to keep you hooked. After a point, it does get a bit repetitive, especially in terms of explicit scenes, if you know what I mean. I think all of the entire book is great, but just in the last chapter, after everything has happened, the author just like gives you an explanation of everything, which was not needed. Like, Colleen, trust your audience. We know what's happening. Okay, we don't, but let our imagination run wild. Let us be Delulu. But I would still definitely recommend this book. It's a good mix between cringe and binge. Like, it's cringe in a couple of places, but I still binged it. Go read it. Now let's move to the next one. The next one is It Ends With Us. I think it's probably Colleen Hoover's most popular book, and now it's also a feature film which has Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. I love both of them, and I think Justin Baldoni is a pretty good fit for this character, and I'll tell you why. So this book again has kind of a love triangle. I think it's the pattern in all of Colleen Hoover's books. Like, there's always a love triangle, which is a pretty old trope. I think get something else. Anyway, it's about Atlas, Lily, and Ryle. Lily and Atlas were lovers growing up, and then things happened and they went their own ways in a very violent way. And Lily, in her early 20s, now meets Ryle, who's a neurosurgeon, very charming, very good looking. And then Ryle and Lily decide to get married. Now, you might think that this is a very average love triangle, what will happen type thing. You know what? Actually, I do have a bone to pick with this book because we were constantly told that it's a very beautiful romance novel when it's not. It's not a romance novel. It's so much more than that. It's about domestic abuse and gaslighting and manipulation. I don't want to go too much into the details, so otherwise then you'll probably get the plot. And I think the writing is so beautiful, and it's also inspired by Colleen Hoover's mother. She was in a relationship where she went through abuse. So yeah, the writing is very beautiful. I think Colleen Hoover does it full justice, and you can kind of in the book see the push and pull that Lily feels.
One day you had a daughter. What would you say to her? She came to you and said the person she loved was hurting her. What would you say to her?
You know, when you're really in love with someone and you want and you think the best of them and you think that they would never hurt you and they end up doing that. And then they come and apologize and you're like, yeah, okay, you know, this won't happen again. And don't lie to me, girls. We always tell that, yeah, I will never let this shit happen to me. But how many times have you given the same guy 3,547 chances? You know, it very accurately describes how you feel in that position. And because I love the book so much, I'm so excited to watch it ends with us. Now, yeah, why do I think Justin Baldoni is a great fit for this role? I think the role that Justin is playing, it's very important to have someone like him who's a big advocate of men's mental health and being gentle with women and chivalrous. And you know, he talks about all of that, and it's very important to have someone like him play the role because that's when you actually understand what someone in love with them would go through. Someone you can really empathize with and how torn you can feel when you have to let go of them. You know, it's not a very black and white thing, you know, like he's a pure villain. It's just the push and pull, and yeah, I love it. By the way, guys, if you're liking the video so far, please subscribe if you haven't already so that I can keep coming here and keep giving you guys great book recommendations because ever since I've started doing this, I've realized how time intensive reading can be back to back. And I just want to minimize that time for you guys. So if I am reading like 10 books in, I don't know, a week or two, I hope you're able to decide out of these 10 books which ones do you want to read. So, yep, it ends with us. Highly recommended. Now, let's move on to the next one. I want to know who forced Colleen Hoover to put her name on this book. Because what the fuck is this? Again, you have this love triangle. It's okay, it's not exactly a love triangle, but like still three people in an equation, or someone on a third person has some control over a romantic equation thing here in this book. Again, I think Colleen has a thing for like three people romance. I don't know. So our main couple is Tate and Miles. Tate has moved into her brother's apartment, Corbin, and Miles happens to be Corbin's really good friend. Now, Tate and Miles have this attraction or lust at first sight thing, and now they decide to get into a friends with benefits thing because that is what our generation does. There is absolutely no romance. Anyway, Miles tells Tate that I can't do serious and it can only be no strings attached thing. And you can't ask me about my past and you can't be a part of my future. And Tate is like, of course I'll do it. Because, wow, what a lovely offer. And you would think that the characters are super likable or there must be something absolutely great about Miles. He's not funny. Okay, he's good looking, but he's not funny. He does not have any personality, does not do anything apart from his job. He's a bit boring, but for some reason, Tate is willing to be his sex doormat. In the entire book, we're literally told on every page that Miles does not smile. And in fact, the one time that he does smile, Tate literally composes a poem out of it. Like, girl, mm-mm-mm. Now, in the book, Miles is kind of still thinking about his ex girlfriend, and the way he thinks about his ex girlfriend. Let me just read out a passage from the book. You're gonna fall in love with me, Rachel. I open the door for her and let Mr. Clayton know that Rachel is new here. I also want to add, for the sake of all the other guys in the classroom, that Rachel is not theirs. She's mine. But I don't say anything. I don't have to, because the only one who needs to be aware of that, to be aware that I want Rachel, is Rachel. I discreetly take a picture of her from where I'm seated. I send the picture in a message to Ian that says, "She's gonna have all my babies." Mind you, Miles and Rachel have rarely spoken. She's only said hi to him. It's called Ugly Love, but I think it should have been called Stupid Love. There's nothing great about it. It's about a man child who cannot get over his past issues, and there's this other girl who's constantly hoping that, oh my god, my love or my affection might change him. Very predictable ending, and frankly, a cringe read. There are other novels around friends with benefits or situationships that you might enjoy. And the reason why it's been titled Ugly Love is that, oh, the love is both great, good and bad, but and ugly, but I think there are other ways of describing ugly love and maybe more poetic ways of doing that. So, yeah, cringe read, skip it. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this book is a sequel of It Ends With Us. If I tell you what's written on the back cover, you'll probably get to know the ending of It Ends With Us, so I won't reveal that. But let's talk about the book and what people have been saying about this book. So, on Goodreads, a lot of people said that this book was not really needed, and I kind of agree and disagree with that. Agree because, as a plot, there's not going on. Like, you feel like something big is gonna happen, but it doesn't really happen. Like, it's pretty, I don't want to say lukewarm, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably 6.5, 7 on 10. But I think it's very important for the people who've been through abuse to know that there is a happy ending and life does not end there, and how to kind of navigate a relationship where there's a kid involved and you've also gone through abuse, and still how to have that relationship with your abuser. That's the reason why I think this book was kind of needed. And apparently, Colleen Hoover's community was begging for this book. Begging. That's the word that they've decided to use on the back cover. Like, don't call your community that. Like, don't say we are begging for it. Even if we are, but whatever. I think it's a lukewarm read. If you really, really loved It Ends With Us and you absolutely have to or want to read another part, then go for it. Otherwise, I think you can skip it. Did I binge it? Kind of, yes, but is it cringy? No, not really. It's fine. So yeah, that's my overall review of Colleen Hoover. Actually, I think all of her books are very binge worthy, but parts of them are also cringe, and I think that's why the entire book community is so divided about Colleen Hoover. I think you should go for it if you're in a reading slump. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.